will take us back to our roots, our ancestral wisdom from our forefathers who lived 90 years old, 95 years old, and even beyond, without expensive medication, without expensive equipment, without the kind of size of hospitals we have today. But now people are dying at 50, 60. Don't we hear it in the news? Somebody has died of a heart attack. Somebody has collapsed in the office. Somebody has collapsed in a meeting. There's a lot of heart attacks happening in Nigeria. Sudden cardiac death. Slum and die syndrome has been so rife in recent years. And it's because we have left the way that our forefathers lived, where they were abiding by what we now call the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. They are really not new because they are the way that our forefathers lived. And they are in 6 different patterns of our behavior. And we can say, as you see some of us wearing the badge of the So Long, we represent this in So Long with the acronym of DRAMS, D-R-A-M-S. D stands for your diet and your nutrition. R stands for your relationships. And so we are encouraging positive social connectedness, not just with human beings here, which is the horizontal relationship, or animals or nature, but also with a higher being, which is vertical. And in Nigeria, we are really rife with vertical relationship because we all call on God and we all pray and we all go to places of worship. So that's number 2, relationships. We should cultivate very happy and positive relationships. That all these have been known to help to prevent, to treat, and to reverse the course of chronic illnesses. The 3rd pillar is E, which is exercise or physical activity. So a lot of the jobs we do now, we are sitting all the time. A civil servant, for example, goes to work and sits for 8 hours. That is very bad. That is a recipe for heart condition or heart disease. So we ask that people will move more often. In any hour, you should get up and move for a few minutes. Any hour you are sitting down, you should get up and move around for a few minutes. And of course, if you have people who go to the gym or run or do brisk walk or you dance or you swim, these are things we should be doing at least 5 times in a week. So 5 days of the week, you should be out doing something intentional to exercise your body. That helps to keep you healthy. It helps to treat, helps to manage these conditions. The 4th one is A, which is avoiding toxic substances or toxic behavior, toxic habits. And so toxic substances, when we talk about them, we're referring to things like alcohol, tobacco, we're referring to things like hard drugs of addiction, and we're referring to even things like sugar. People are addicted to sugar. That is very bad for your health and can lead to many conditions. Also, habits that are of addiction, like being on tech 20 out of 24 hours. That is so wrong. A lot of our children now, rather than go out to play football, to play basketball, to run around with their friends, they're in front of the computer, their iPhone, their laptop, and so on. So we say we need to avoid that in order to prevent, treat, or actually reverse the course of chronic illnesses. And now the 5th one is our mental health and managing of our stress. Again, it doesn't actually need introduction. There's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of stress in the land. We're saying look for ways in which, in spite of it all, you are still able to manage this. And we'll talk a lot more about it at this conference. And the final one is what? S. So dreams, the final letter is S. S stands for sleep. Sleep that is restorative, sleep that is adequate. And at this point, the World Health Organization recommends 7 to 8 hours of actually adequate sleep every night that you sleep. Many people say, I don't need sleep, I don't need more than 2 hours, I don't need more than 3 hours, especially those who are at top jobs. But unfortunately, they leave themselves open for sudden heart attacks and things like that. So when you see people are really dropping dead, they're sleeping, they're not waking up, it's not necessary that they have home trouble or that their home people are disturbing them, but it is their behavior, their behavioral patterns in all of these 6 pillars that I've mentioned that can lead to it. And so if you walk and see what kind of foods are being served, if I go back to the first pillar, we're talking about diet and nutrition, and we're actually saying eat lots and lots and lots of plants, vegetables, lots and lots of it in every meal of the day. Drink sufficient water, at least 2 to 3 liters of water every day, and cut off soda drinks, sugary drinks, and so you don't need them. You just need good old water to stay hydrated.
One of the things that we are talking about in this conference is how we can treat, prevent, and reverse chronic disease. One of the chronic diseases that we can reverse is type 2 diabetes. Over time, people's goals in managing diabetes is just to control the blood sugar on medication, and we have a lot of drugs that are being reeled out every now and then for the control of diabetes. But the root cause of type 2 diabetes lies in our behavior, in what we eat, how well we sleep, and all the other components of dreams that were just mentioned. However, we now have evidence that shows that rather than just control the levels of the blood sugar, we can actually reverse diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and bring it into remission so that that person is off medication but maintaining his blood glucose and well-being just by practicing or adopting the dreams lifestyle. So this is possible. Now, there was a study that was carried out, and that study looked at 3 different groups of individuals over an 18-month period. And one of the people in that group, one of the groups, they were placed on lifestyle medicine modification. Another group was placed on usual care. Another group was placed on medication so that we could stop them from developing diabetes. They were already pre-diabetic. You know, there are lots of people who are pre-diabetic, some people are pre-hypertensive. So they wanted to see how we could prevent their progression to type 2 diabetes. And the study is a landmark study. It actually showed that those who were on the lifestyle medicine modification, they were the ones that had the most improvements in all areas of their health, including their weight, their blood glucose. Their blood glucose was even maintained even for 2 years after, compared to the people who were just on medication and usual care. So we have a lot of studies that back up what we're saying. We're not just bringing it out of our heads. It works. And talking about sleep as well, we have studies that show that individuals that don't take adequate time to sleep, sufficient quality, continuity, and the entire quantity of sleep, people that don't have enough of that, studies have shown that they are more prone to heart attacks. So they are more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. They are more likely to develop some cancers as compared with people that have enough sleep. Part of this has to do with the hormonal balance in the body. So for people that don't sleep well, they have hormonal imbalance, and so they tend to have more cravings. You just find yourself during the course of the day wanting to eat something more. And the choices of food that such people make are from highly refined foods that have fat and sugar. So people that don't sleep well, they are more likely to want to take a bottle of Coke the following day. They are more likely to want to take a bottle of Fanta or soft drink. And they are also more likely to want to eat cakes and cookies and biscuits and small chops. Of course, many of us are familiar with that in Nigeria. So what we are saying is that we don't want to wait until the disease happens. There is sufficient evidence to show that once you avoid or limit the things that can increase your risk, we'll be able to prevent that disease. And if you have already sustained or you have already acquired that disease, we can actually prevent it. Even in cases of heart failure, we've had people with heart failure, with cardiomyopathy. Just yesterday, a patient was with us sharing her story about how she was diagnosed with heart failure and cardiomyopathy, and she thought it was a death sentence. And she had been going into the hospital back and forth until she met one of us in the lifestyle medicine clinic. And she decided to start all these evidence-based things we're talking about. She changed her diet, she started walking, She started sleeping better. Her connections with her family and individuals around her improved, and before you know it, she actually lost weight. Between January and now, I think she lost about almost 10 kg without any medication. So it is possible, and that's the message to the public today as we mark our 7th annual scientific conference. This message is for all of us Nigerians, that we can have a better world to live in because we are living healthier, happier, and longer lives from adopting evidence-based lifestyle medicine strategies.